Hey, what's up, bros? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sleep video. It's Bro Vinny here. Today, we are talking about sneaky snacking. Have you ever wondered how sneaky snacking is calculated? Like, what actually gives these numbers? The developers tells us that it's from berry snacking when the inventory is full. But when the inventory is full, what happens to ingredients? Do they just get lost? Do they not get farmed? Are they somehow deleted or are they eaten by Snorlax? So in this video, I'm going to prove to you that, in fact, no matter which Pokemon, whether it be Skill Specialist, Ingredient Specialist, or Berry Specialist, once the inventory is full, the Pokemon will only farm berries. That means what we believe to be about an 80-20 chance drop between berries and ingredients, generally speaking, provided there's no natures or there's no sub-skills getting in the way. Normally, every 4 drops of berries, you get 1 drop of ingredient. Once inventory is full, it's actually all just berries, and I'm going to prove to you that's the case. But let's talk about what that might mean first. You know how we often talk about you need to log into the game frequently to collect your items so that you get the ingredients, you get the berries, you get to trigger the main skill. Now, what if you're a player that has enough ingredients? You've maxed your bag at 500 out of 500 ingredients, and you don't want your Pokemon to drop ingredients anymore. If this proves to be true, if what I'm saying proves to be true, you could hypothetically force all of your team members to only farm berries by leaving them on max inventory. Of course, there's going to be some downsides. If you saw my video yesterday, you know that when a Pokemon is at max inventory, it cannot trigger any main skills. But what if that main skill doesn't really matter? What if hypothetically you just want berries to drop? You don't want ingredients. You've already maxed your bag. You don't need ingredients. Then not collecting your drops for like a significant amount of time so that inventory is maxed out would mean that you only get berries dropped, which could be extra useful for berry specialists who have berry finding S. So they have ×3 berries every time they trigger a drop. So you just need to consider for yourself whether this is actually worth doing. At the cost of not having main skills trigger and not getting any ingredients at all. So how did I go about proving that only berries get triggered only berries drop when inventory is full? Well, it's actually very simple. You could do this yourself, but you couldn't really do it on your main account without harming that account for the week. So what I did is I went onto my alt account and I started farming yesterday, exactly 24 hours ago, while the Pokemon have max inventory. So what I've done is that I made sure that all my Pokemon had max inventory by clicking onto them and then watching their drops and making sure that they are maxed inventory. Once that's done, I don't collect any of the items, I don't collect any of the ingredients or berries, and then I leave it for 24 hours. So they start at max inventory. And just to simplify the equation some more, my entire team starts at 0% energy, as you can see down here. So yesterday, all my team members started at 0% energy. And to simplify matters, that none of them have any sub-skills. Some of them do have natures that matter, most of them don't. So this Pikachu has EXP up and energy recovery down, doesn't really matter. This Squirtle has ingredient finding up, which is actually going to help our calculations in a moment. And then this one has neutral, and this one has, again, energy up. Main skill down doesn't matter because at max inventory, skills cannot trigger. And then this Psyduck has main skill up again. It doesn't matter because our skill cannot trigger at all. So the only one that we need to consider in our calculations in a moment is ingredient finding up on this Squirtle. So if ingredients were being dropped, it's just that they either get eaten or and I don't think Snorlax can actually just eat raw ingredients. You have to cook them. Or are they getting deleted? This Squirtle will help us find out. Because this Squirtle is supposed to drop even more ingredients despite just being an ingredient specialist, it will drop even more ingredients thanks to its nature. So in other words, if I calculate the total berry drops from this Squirtle, it should be quite small with the ingredient nature up. Then I just inputted some numbers. Pretty straightforward. It's my own calculator. It's just an Excel sheet. So what this is I've inputted each of the team members, their names up here, and then I've put in their level. The level doesn't really matter. That won't be used in a calculation, but it does affect the berry strength. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should check out my berry strength video of how berry strength is calculated. So for grappa berries at level 5, they give a 29 berry strength. Oran berries at level 3 give a 33 berry strength. And I confirmed that none of the berries, so grappa nor oran, are favorite berries for the week. So that's why it's just 1 times here. Then the frequency is in seconds. That's just from the game data itself. Now, because these Pokemon are at 0% energy, that means the frequency is exactly how often it will, how quickly it will trigger each drop. So I left the game for approximately or almost exactly 24 hours. So all I did was 24 hours in seconds divided by the frequency. That's how many triggers. So divided by this is the frequency. That's how many, this here is that number. So how many times the berry can be triggered to drop. Now, of course, you can't trigger half. So that means we need to only take the whole number there without taking the decimal. So it's exactly 32 drops every 24 hours. The energy multiplier there is just 1 because it's at 0% energy. If it was at a higher percentage energy, if it was at 100% energy for 24 hours, so for example, if I left it to sleep for that long, then it would be 2.2 times. But I didn't use track sleep session, so it's 1 times. It's just floating at 0% energy the whole time. And I also put in my area bonus, that's 10% for Greengrass Isle. And for Pikachu, because it's a berry specialist, it gets ×2 up here for berry drops. Then it's just a multiplication. So it's the number of berries times the berry strength times favorite, but it's just 1 times because it's not favorite, times the number of triggers, 32, times the area bonus. Like multiplying all of those, this is the number that I get. And I did that for all 5 of my team members. These numbers are very, very close to the actual sneaky snacking I got, if you have a look over here, from my team members. Pikachu, under calculations for pure berry drops. So you understand that my calculations up here are assuming that Pokemon can only drop berries. There's no consideration for ingredients. If I were to include ingredients, I would have to take away approximately 20% of the berry drops, because approximately 20% goes to ingredients. But you can see that it almost exactly matches. Now, there's going to be a little bit of discrepancy, but I'll just show you. So 689 for Squirtle, that's my calculation. Squirtle actually gave me more than my prediction, but very slightly, only off by about 1 to 2 berries. And I'm going to say that it's okay, because 24 hours ago, at the start of the calculations of when we started measuring, perhaps Squirtle was about to trigger another drop. So I can't be sure that I started at exactly 0 timer for all the Pokemon. In fact, I probably didn't start at 0 timer for all the Pokemon. So that's why there's going to be a few berries worth of discrepancy here. So Squirtle, approximately 2 berries off. That's about right. And for Pichu is almost exactly right. We're off by about 3 berries. And Pichu 3 berries for both of them. And then we got Psyduck, which is off by approximately 1 to 2 berries. But these errors are not even a problem, because if the ingredients that were being dropped during sneaky snacking were deleted, these numbers should be lower than these numbers, not higher. So it's the opposite of what I'd expect if ingredients were just lost in the process. So that means this pretty much confirms that Pokemon will, no matter whether the skill specialist, and we've got Psyduck here to represent the skill specialist, we've got Squirtle to represent the ingredient specialist, and we've got obviously the Pichus and Pikachus to represent the berry specialist. No matter which specialty, the Pokemon will only farm berries when inventory is full. So for those of you that actually have too much ingredients, that you're actually starting to sell them for Dream Shards, you could use this method of just not collecting the berries and the drops to force your Pokemon to gain a bit more berry strength for the week. Whether that's actually beneficial to you, I'm not sure, because it depends on your team members and what their main skills are. If, hypothetically, you're running a Blastoise and a Charizard and you've got a full bag of ingredients and their main skills are to trigger ingredients, hang on a second, why would you want more ingredients from those two Pokemon? So what you would do is you simply don't collect the berries and the drops from the ones that only trigger ingredients in their main skill, because you don't really need the main skill to trigger for the moment anyway. This is more of a niche scenario. Not everyone will come across this, but from time to time, this could be useful to you. And even if it isn't, now you know how sneaky snacking works. It simply forces the Pokemon to only farm berries. Alright, now we're going to go a little bit more in depth about how these numbers actually come about. How did the app actually get this number here? Because if you think about it, if I take this number and I divide it by the area bonus and I divide by the berry strength, it should give me a whole number. In fact, it will tell me, the number it should give me is how many triggers this Pikachu had. So let's take 2048 and divide it by 1.1, which is my area bonus, and then divide it by the berry strength at that Pikachu's level, which is 29. But of course, we still need to divide it by 2, otherwise, because it's a berry specialist, there's actually 32 triggers of berries, which is about right. But why isn't this a whole number? How can there be 0.1 of a trigger? How did the app, it doesn't make sense. So if one berry dropped, you don't get another drop until the next trigger. You can't get 0.1 of a trigger. So we went and looked at the data a little bit more in depth. And when I say we, I have to thank Atik from my Discord who helped us figure this out. And in fact, no, a Pokemon cannot drop like 0.5 of a berry or 0.1 of a berry. You cannot have 0.1 of a trigger. What's actually happened is the app does a bit of strange rounding at first. So let's take our berry strength again, and we're going to refer to this chart over here. A Greppa berry at level 5 is 29 berry strength. What the app strangely does is that it first multiplies that by the area bonus. Then it rounds that up. So this number here actually becomes 32. It rounds it up first. It doesn't use the decimal number. It rounds it up first. So in other words, the berry strength is first multiplied by the area bonus, as it would when you normally trigger. Because this Snorlax would actually get 32 strength from this berry if you were to just feed the Snorlax as it is. So it actually makes sense. It won't take 31.9 as the berry strength when doing these sneaky snacking calculations. So let's cross that out and say that Snorlax gets 32 berry strength per berry. So if we take 32 now and multiply that by the number of triggers, and we knew it was approximately 32 times, it just happens to be the same number, and of course it's 2 berries every trigger, we go back to exactly 2048, which is what we had here. So in order for you to see how many triggers, you need to divide this number on the sneaky snacking, so if you want to see how many triggers this Pokemon had, by the rounded up strength of your berry times the area bonus. So let's take one more example. Squirtle here is at 740 sneaky snacking. It's at level 3, so that's Oran Berry at 33 strength. So we first figure out what the berry strength is when each berry is fed to Snorlax, and it is 37 because of the area bonus. And it gets rounded up, it doesn't seem to get rounded down ever. So the number we take is 37. So just remember here that no matter what the decimal in the back is, so here, it is still rounded up. Then we take our 740, which was what the sneaky snacking was, and divide it by 37, and you know that this Squirtle had triggered 20 times in those 24 hours. So for those of you who really want to find out how many times your Pokemon triggered after inventory went full, this is how you do it. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you in the next video where we talk about friendship points needed to reach each friendship level.